Welcome to the Vulnerable Room. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Vulnerable Room. I am your host, Darnique, and this is a space where we drop the facade, have honest convos, and figure life out in real time. If this is your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back, roomies. I know, bad cute, right? So it dawned on me one day in the shower. I'm like, what do I want to call my listeners, my supporters, instead of calling them my listeners or supporters? And you know how Beyonce has the beehive? It just dropped in my spirit. I'm like, I'm going to call you roomies. If this is the vulnerable room, then we're all sharing this safe space. We're sitting together, unpacking life and being honest and growing in real time. So yeah, I felt like roomies were perfect. So let's check in. We haven't done this in a minute. Before we dive into today's topic, I just want to just catch up. Let's have some tea time. So this episode will be layered and reflective and cultural. So wherever you are listening from, in the car, at work, or at home, in the shower, take a breath. You're safe right here. So how are we really doing? Not the quick answer, not the, oh, I'm good, the honest one. How are you really doing? I'll share with you guys. It's been a rough 2 weeks, I would say. Just recently, how I opened the season in regards to my job search. I had an interview. The first interview was December 31st. Then the second one was on my mom and my sister's birthday, which was January 21st. And that was the second interview. The third round, I actually came on site, and that was on January 22nd. So 3 rounds, right? You know how back in the day, if you had a 3-round interview, you got it in the bag. Baby, that is not what happened, unfortunately. So I went on an interview. I did great. I know I did great. I think I'm pretty good with interviewing. And yeah, they told me they was going to get back to me in a week. So I was like, all right, fine, cool, no problem. Snowstorm came. I was like, you know what? Let me give grace. And maybe they'll reach out to me, a little bit later than the 1 week mark. Then 1 week became 2 weeks. So I said, okay, you know what? I did the right thing. After the interview, I sent an email, a thank you email, that's standard. But I was like, you know what? Let me reach out and circle back with the hiring manager. I did just that, and I didn't hear anything. This was on last week Tuesday. Wednesday comes, I come home from the gym, I'm in the shower. Something tells me to check the portal. I go and I check the portal. The status went from, because before it said interviewing with hiring manager. So it went from that to check back for other opportunities. Yes, you heard correctly. Check back for other opportunities. So not only did the hiring manager didn't have the decency to reach back out to me, and maybe we could have touched base in regards to what went left, maybe, but it was so weird. And I didn't get an email until later on that evening from the organization. I won't say no names because I don't need no lawsuit, please. I received the proper email, the standard email, like, oh, we're going to pursue other candidates and blah, blah, blah. So I was just an emotional wreck because I'm like, how did we even get here? God, how did we even get here? Please, 3-round interview, didn't get the job, but you know what? What's for me will not pass me by. And in that moment, it's okay. I was angry. I was crying. I was upset. I was doubting myself. I was going through the whole motions. I was going through every emotion you could think of. And I just know, like, eventually this, like I said before, and this is all in real time, and I said I was going to be like this in season 5. Um, it's okay to not be okay. Today I was feeling blah, but talking to my best friend this morning, hey Shy, talking to my best friend this morning really put me in a great mood. It had put the battery in my back because I did not feel like recording today. But we're here. We're still pushing through. We're still pushing past these feelings because guess what? Feelings are only temporary and things will get better. My mood earlier was blah. Now I'm feeling a little bit better. So yeah, I'm feeling optimistic. So I really hope that you guys are feeling good. If not, trust me, we are here. So one thing I've been doing consistently since December 20th is something called the quote unquote good entries. Every day I write one good thing that happened, just one. It helps me to ground myself in what's still working when life gets heavy. Some days the good things is big. Some days it's small. Some days it's literally, I made it through the day. And that still matters. If any of my roomies are feeling overwhelmed, down, stuck in their head, try it. You may feel better. One good thing a day you may find is helpful. So, can we talk about, on a lighter note, can we talk about Bad Bunny? Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show. Because that wasn't just a performance, that was representation. Bad Bunny became the first solo Latin artist to headline the Super Bowl halftime show, almost entirely in Spanish. What I love is instead of him watering himself down, he showed up fully in his culture. Everything from the visuals to the music, the dancing, it all honored Puerto Rican heritage. Then the unity at the end with all the flags, like, it was very touching. My family's from the Virgin Islands, St. Croix to be exact, if you didn't know. And when I saw the Virgin Island flag, and when I just saw all the flags, but mainly the Virgin Island flags, because people don't know, we're literally right next door to Puerto Rico. I was like, wow, this goes to show like we all are one. And in a world full of so much hate, he showed up and showed love. And that is the hardest thing to do. He did it and I loved it. He made a statement. That moment was pride. It felt like ownership. And honestly, it connects perfectly to Black History Month because representation matters. We're all one at the end of the day, whether we like it or not. So let's move on to something a little bit more heavier that's been surfacing social media. Let's talk about the situation involving Evelyn Lozada and her daughter, Shanice. Recently, Evelyn sat down on a podcast with her daughter, Shanice, and her baby father, who is the game, and they all were having a conversation, and Shanice basically expressed that she doesn't feel supported by her child's father. And her child's father literally looked at her and told her why he's not changing diapers, why he's not getting up in the middle of the night to feed the baby or check on the baby, and all the things that you would look for in a partner when raising a child. And her mother, literally, while her daughter was damn near in tears, was sitting there. Her mother was sitting there laughing. And it triggered me because it was very uncomfortable to watch. Her mother was sitting there basically dismissing how her daughter felt. And her daughter was so vulnerable in that moment. And for her to just laugh, it was weird. It was so weird. And watching Shanice's pain be dismissed, especially on a public platform, so cringy, so crunchy, so uncomfortable, didn't like it, 0 stars. It made me think about how often emotional neglect gets minimized, especially in like families, especially when it comes to children, when children are expected to quote unquote be strong, understanding, or grown. At times, people don't realize how deeply something hurts, but that doesn't make the pain less real. The moment truly ties into today's topic, which we will get into, because we often normalize like emotional dismissal under the guise of that's just how it is. So yeah, if you haven't seen that clip, I will post it in the story, well, in my on my Instagram story, so you could take a look if you're not sure what I'm talking about. But even if you type in Evelyn Lozada and her daughter Shanice, that will be one of the first clips to come up, sadly. So now, with Valentine's Day coming up, or by the time you watch this, Valentine's Day may have passed, I just want to acknowledge that love looks different for everyone right now. Wherever you are with it, I'm holding space for you. I love seeing all the love on my timeline, whether if it's with couples or for Valentine's Day. It's very cutesy. I'm loving it. It's, because some people don't have a significant other. So when you lean on like, your village, your girls, y'all all get together and just celebrate love, I'm loving all of it. Um, and of course, it's Black History Month, which isn't just about what we survived, but what we're unlearning, redefining, choosing differently, and the major contributions our culture has given to this world. So, shout out to all the melanin in the room, okay? Shout out to everybody, all of our ancestors, all the public figures, the historical figures that came before us and paved the way. We would not be here without you guys. So I just want to say happy Black History Month to everyone. Black History Month is every single day. It's not just 1 month out of the year, but nonetheless, happy Black History Month to all. So, all right, roomies, before we move forward, it's time for the room supports. And I just want to basically introduce this new segment. This segment is for anybody who I would like to support in the vulnerable room, someone that I would like to shout out, whether if it's for an accomplishment, a business, things of that nature, just like how last episode I shouted out Butter Baby. So this episode, I'm going to shout out my girl, Destiny. She was on the podcast last season. I think it was episode 2, from Broken to Boss. She is the host of the Broken to Boss podcast. Some of you may know her as Des. And instantly from the moment I came across her page, like I mentioned before, so authentic, so warm, so real. I just want to shout her out because my girl came out with a journal, baby. Congratulations, Des. I am so proud of you. This book could not have come at a better time because in this season, I said to myself, you know what? I need to write more. Hence, what I mentioned before, the good entries. But this book will hold me accountable. And she also have a 12-week program that's associated with the journal. So if you're interested, I'm doing it. I'm a part of the community. But if you're interested in the program, reach out to Destiny. I will be sure to tag her. But Destiny, nonetheless, congratulations on this huge accomplishment. It is not little, girl, and it's not overlooked, oversighted, nothing of that sort. I am proud of you because it takes a lot to put something like this together. The 12-week program basically is for, you know, getting back to self, writing more. If you're on a spiritual journey, a mental journey, physical journey, all the things, this is a space for you. So, Destiny, big up yourself. So now moving on to book reviews. So I want to review 4 books written by three Black authors, of course, because it's Black History Month. The first book is My Sister, the Serial Killer. The second book is The Baddest. Third book is Real. And the fourth book is called Can't Get Enough. My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Brathwaite. I hope I'm saying her name right. If not, I apologize. This book explores family loyalty, moral boundaries. It asks the question, how far would you go for someone you love and at what cost? It highlights how Black women are often expected to be fixers, absorbers, silencers of chaos for the sake of family unity. The ending was a little underwhelming. I wish there was more like character depth. So I would rate this book a six out of 10. The next book is entitled, I had to bring it in because the other books I read by audio or listened to by audio. So this book right here, The Baddest by Trina. I was gifted this book last year for my birthday because that's all I wanted was books. Like, yeah, that's it. And I finally got around to reading the book. I think it was in November. And Trina's memoir is about confidence, survival, and owning who you are in an industry that tries to box women in. I felt like I had a front row seat to her life, the highs, the lows, the hustle. She was open about everything. Her journey, her relationships, dealing with grief, being a proud Caribbean, and how intentional she was with every move in her career. I felt so connected to her vulnerability. The photos in the book was the cherry on top of the cake, baby. Yeah. Like, come on. Like, for real? My girl gave us a photo album. So it gave us a visual of like maybe outfits she was talking about, like her looks for red carpets or maybe an iconic picture. Whatever the case may be, this memoir was a 10 out of 10 and I will read it again. It definitely motivated me. So shout out to you, Katrina Taylor, because this was a good book. The next book, Real. I understand the hype. This book had me tearing and smiling at the same time. The story is packed with love, triumph, romance, real life moments, family dynamics, and the kind of partner support and unconditional love that truly matters. Kennedy really embodied all of it so beautifully. Cannon, one of the main characters, Cannon, is that man. Is that man. The sequel Score comes out in May, and best believe is already pre-ordered, and it will be signed by my girl Kennedy Ryan. So I'm so excited to see what happens next. So I will rate this book obviously a 10 out of 10. And the last book, Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan as well. This book completes the Skyland series, and it's safe to say Kennedy Ryan has me in the chokehold for real. Like, she is one of my top authors, one of my faves, actually. I loved Hendrix's love story. So much heart, and it felt so warm. It was filled with so much romance. And Maverick, who is one of the main characters, he was intentional, attentive, and studied Hendrix effortlessly. The only con was like the ending got too business focused for me without saying too much because I don't want to give any spoilers. But overall, it was a nice wrap up to the series. So I will rate this book a 8.5 out of 10. So let's dive into today's topic now that we've checked in and we caught up and set the tone. I want to shift gears a little. Black history is more than a month. It's resistance, it's brilliance, it's innovation. Yes, we have leaders who fought for our rights and refused to back down. Yes, we had inventors, scholars, and visionaries who changed the world, who were the first to discover, create, and reimagine what was possible. But Black history is also the everyday courage of our ancestors, the quiet strength, the sacrifices, the dreams they had for us before we even existed. I was wondering how I can still honor my history respectfully, but address some things we're still carrying to this very day. Not in a negative way, but to bring awareness to our community. Because a lot of what we're taught to normalize as Black people wasn't about thriving, it was about surviving. So today's topic is entitled What We Normalize, the Black Edition. Survival made sense back then, but survival doesn't always serve us now. One of the biggest things we've normalized as Black people, the first one, child, is overworking. Always doing the most, always pushing, always trying to prove something. We were raised on phrases like, you gotta work twice as hard. Nothing is handed to us. Don't get comfortable. You can rest when it's done. How many of y'all heard any of those phrases? I know I've heard a few. And it's embedded in my mind because subconsciously I do it. I say that to myself. Like I should be doing something, right? And while those messages came from protection, they also taught us something dangerous, that our value is tied to exhaustion. A lot of us don't know how to rest without guilt. We don't know how to pause without feeling lazy. We don't know how to enjoy success without immediately thinking or asking what's next. Even when something good happens, we brace ourselves. And I want to ask you, roomies, when was the last time like you really allowed yourself to just be proud without minimizing it? When was the last time you was able to like really take in the moment and to be proud of your accomplishment? Because rest isn't laziness, rest is maintenance. And burnout is not a badge of honor. We deserve ease, not just survival. Number two, another thing we were taught to normalize is emotional suppression. We were taught early, stop crying, be strong, don't let them see you sweat, pray about it, and move on. And faith absolutely matters. But faith was never meant to replace emotional honesty. A lot of us learn how to function without ever learning how to feel. So instead of processing pain, we bury it, joke about it, normalize it, and keep it moving until it shows up later as anxiety, irritability, emotional shutdown, and hyper independence. I know for a fact that I tend to joke around or crack a joke in the midst of my like meltdown. If I'm crying about something or if like I'm, just going through the motions, I'll crack a joke, and one is to make me feel better, but it's to prevent me from feeling. Excuse me. And I realized that in therapy, it prevented me from feeling any further than what I was feeling already. So I don't know how many of us, you know, do that. We will crack a joke. And even within the Black community, the saying Black people never take anything seriously. We don't, because that is the way that is the way we coped with a lot of things. We always try to see the silver lining, which isn't bad, but it just became a way for us to just suppress our feelings and get over what we're feeling in real time. Strength became silence, and silence became survival. But unexpressed emotions don't disappear, they get stored. You ever heard of the snowball effect? Okay. And at some point, your body will ask for what your mouth never said. So the snowball effect, like you suppress everything how you feel until you get to a buildup and you just explode. That is not healthy at all. So you gotta be able to feel. We're humans. We have to be able to feel. 3, let's talk about loyalty, because we were taught that loyalty means staying no matter what, explaining bad behavior, making excuses for people, enduring disrespect, or keeping it in the family. We were taught that walking away is betrayal, that boundaries mean you're cold, that protecting yourself is selfish. So we stay in unhealthy relationships like friendships, family dynamics, or someone you're dating, or in workplaces, long after the relationship has shown us who it is, who they are, all the things, right? To make us say, got a blast. But here's the truth. Loyalty without boundaries becomes self-abandonment. You can love people deeply and still choose distance. You can forgive and still not give access. You can honor history without repeating harm. Choosing yourself is not disloyal, it's necessary. So I think I talked about this before on the podcast, but just real briefly, some of you may know I have 3 sisters, including me, it's 4. And some people think I only have one sister. Yes, if you're today's years old when you found out, yes, I have 3 sisters. I have 2 older and 1 younger. And when I was growing up, like going through my adolescent years, like in my 20s, I always felt like I had to, like, I was looking for that love and acceptance. And I'm sorry if I'm stumbling over my words, because this is the first time I'm talking about it. And yeah. So I was looking for that love and acceptance from my sisters. And I felt like I wasn't getting it. And even in the midst of arguments, sometimes they say, like, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me. Words do hurt, and words do linger. And every time that they would get upset with me, they would say very hurtful things, which is why now I still love them, but I'm keeping my distance, because at any given point, we could have a disagreement. They could hurt me again. And this is part of the reason why I'm so big on sisterhood, whether if it's through my sorority or through the community that I have created and with my girlfriends and even with my podcast, things of that nature. It just helps me to fill that void. Like, I have my younger sister. Shout out to my little munchkin. But to have older sisters, like older women, to look up to, and people who are like-minded. You may share the same sentiments, or even you can learn from them if you don't see eye to eye. And what stood out to me with my friendships, with my sorority, with my relationships with people I call my sisters, we could disagree, we could have an argument, but it's the way how we handle it. It's not me versus them. It's us versus the problem. And that I've learned, and I've hold near and dear to my heart. And I've learned that resolution is super important to me. So although, like, yes, I'm always going to be loyal to my family, but this is my truth. And I've always felt the need to not talk about it or suppress it because I don't want people to, my parents, they may be watching. I didn't want them to feel any way about it. But they know this is how I feel, and they've grown to accept it. So, yeah. Ooh. That was some vulnerability for your head top, because please. So choosing yourself is not disloyal, it's necessary. 4, another thing we normalize is silence for the sake of peace, baby. Woo! This is the one. We were told, don't start, let it go. You know how they are. Just keep the peace. Don't make it a thing. But peace that requires your silence isn't peace. It's avoidance, ladies and gentlemen. It's avoidance. And avoidance doesn't heal anything. It just delays the explosion. A lot of us learn to read the room instead of honoring ourselves, to swallow our needs, to minimize our feelings. And then we wonder why resentment builds. Your voice matters. Your voice matters. Even when it shakes. Especially when it shakes, it matters. I just want to just briefly add on to that. Like, all of my life, I literally sat on a lot of my feelings. And unfortunately, it took my last relationship to, yes, pick and choose my battles, but I'm not going to sit with my chest tight because I'm stressed, I'm annoyed, I'm upset, all the things. And you're sleeping well at night? No. I'm here to say, yes, you can get, off what you need to say. Yes, delivery matters, but it's not fair for you to suppress how you feel. Don't silence yourself. Don't ever silence yourself, whether if it's in the workplace, in relationships, or with family. Say how you feel respectfully. Say it. I wish I did that at my last job, right? But I love, for example, my younger sister. She'll tell me stories about, things that go down in the workplace. She speaks up every single time. I'm like, you said that? But for me, that motivates me the next time I'm in the work environment. I'm going to say what I have to say, and whoever don't like it, too damn bad. Too bad. Okay? Or allowing others to take credit for my work. It's not happening. I'm speaking up for myself. Okay? And you should too, moving forward. Number 5, this one is deep. We normalize struggle as identity or a badge of honor. We bonded over trauma. We joked about pain, which is something I mentioned earlier. We laughed through hardship. And because struggle was familiar, peace felt suspicious. If it's too good, something bad is coming. We normally would say that. If it's too good, something bad is coming. I don't know. Or we would say, don't get your hopes up. Or we would say, life ain't easy. But joy is not a setup, y'all. It's not a setup. Bask in that joy. Ease is not a trick. Peace is not something you have to brace for. We deserve good things without anticipating loss. Survival got us here, but we are allowed to want more. It's like we're expecting the worst and good things can't happen to us. I want to be very clear here. Our parents, our grandparents, our ancestors, they did the best they could with what they had. Survival was necessary. Silence was protective. Overworking was required. We can honor that without carrying it. We can honor that without carrying everything forward. Healing doesn't dishonor survival. Growth doesn't erase sacrifice. It just means we're choosing differently now. So, with that being said, if there's one thing I want you to take from this episode, it's this. A lot of what we normalized wasn't culture. It was survival. And we're allowed to question it. We're allowed to unlearn it. We're allowed to redefine strength. Because surviving isn't the same as living. Surviving is not the same as living, y'all. It's not. It's not. It's not. I'm here to tell you that it's not. I'll leave you with this affirmation. And I want you to sit with it. I honor what helped me survive, and I choose what helps me live. Say that again if you need to. I honor what helped me survive, and I choose what helps me live. Thank you for sitting in this room with me today, roomies. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, leave a review on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, because I love hearing from you all. And this will continue to get the word out there, or continue to make the podcast grow. So I love you all. Be gentle with yourselves. Be safe and have a great week. And I'll see you next time right here in the Vulnerable Room. Bye. Come on, y'all. We know these combos ain't for the faint. Thank you for listening to the Vulnerable Room podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, head on over to Anchor or Spotify to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Follow at The Vulnerable Room on Instagram or visit thevulnerableroom.com for the latest tea. See you next time. Love you all and have a great week.